will record me. It's not going to record you. That's the good news for you. No, I'm used to being recorded. So let's grab our blanket. We're going to start just seated and bringing our body and our mind into this practice. So I like to use a blanket under the hips. It lifts them up just enough. It gets the knees lower than the hips. That's the goal we're looking for. So if you need more blankets or more pillows, place that underneath your hips. And then if you got sensitive knees, then you can place stuff under your knees. There's these great chairs out there you can buy that where you kind of like fit yourself in these little molded meditation chairs, and that's exactly what they do. Is they support the knees, they support the back, and you can sit there for a very long time. So we're kind of creating that all on our own. And just sitting up nice and tall. Get your hands onto your knees. First finger and thumb touch. Close your eyes. And taking a few deep breaths, nice noisy breaths, to bring your attention to the here and now. Knowing that anytime in the practice, you can always use this more noisy breath to bring your mind's eye back to the moment. Two more deep breaths, just like that. And then going to your natural breath, following the gentle rise and fall as it goes through the chest and the back. And every time you move your attention away from the breath, just bringing it back in. No judgment. Don't be hard on yourself. We're going to take 10 more breaths here, so counting the breath on the exhale. And soften your effort. You can keep your eyes closed or half open, whatever's best for you. We're going to stretch the arms out so that the elbows are straight. Grab onto the knees. Inhale, lift the chest and looking up, faces up. You can keep your eyes closed. Exhale, rounding, chin towards the chest. Yeah, let the low back round out. Inhale, opening. Exhale, rounding. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Good. One more. Exhale. Good. Finding that nice tall spine again. We're going to bring that right hand across to the left knee, left hand behind. Take a breath in and twist. Do less with your neck, more with your upper back, your thoracic spine. Three more breaths here. Look forward, release the twist. We'll go to the other side, holding on to the right knee. Right hand goes behind. Take a breath in and exhale, twist. Think of the twist coming from the shoulders. Perfect. One more breath. Look forward, release the twist. Very nice. We're going to bring our hands to prayer in front of the chest. And we're going to twist to the left again. So inhale, exhale, twist. Now we're using the strength in the back and in the chest. So all the way through the trunk to do the twist. You may notice there's strength in the legs to do it too. Good. Two more breaths. Coming to center, other side. Exhale, going to the right. A very active twist. Now, when we do the twist with our hands in prayer, there's more coordination involved. So sometimes it can be a little more frustrating. You're like, well, I can't go as far. Yeah, that's normal. Come to center. When we use the hands, your spine is going for a ride on the strength of the arms, right? When we have our hands in prayer, the spine and the back and the trunk is doing all the work. Now let's bring our hands behind the head. I'm just interlacing them behind my head, and we're going to go into, well, technically it's called a lateral flexion. So we're just leaning to one side. You can choose which side you want to go to. Good. I feel like we don't do this enough. Our poor obliques. Good. And then we're going to come to center and we'll flex to the other side. Now that I'm learning all these correct terms for anatomy, I'm forgetting the more layman terms. It's not a great thing. But we'll come back to center. Good. And then we're going to bring our arms down, hands go behind. Extend the legs out in front of you. I'm just going to take my silly socks off. There we go. And now you can choose if you want your fingertips towards your hips or your fingertips back. Good. We're going to start this extension in the back from the hips. So we press the hips down. We're going to lift through the belly, the rib cage, all the way up to the collarbones. And it's up to you if you want to take the extension into your neck. That would be letting your head dip back. Taking 3 deep breaths here. And then exhale, release. Good. We're going to bring our knees closer in. We're going to reach underneath the knees, maybe for the elbows or the forearms. And then we're going to round the other way. Oh boy. So flexing the spine. Good. Go ahead and let it happen. Let the forehead go towards the knees. Slowly coming up, stretch those legs out again. We're going to bring our hands behind. Good, and we're going to go into extension again. So let that extension start from the very bottom of the spine. So we're pressing the hips down, lifting through the belly, lifting through the chest. And if you like, you can let your neck and head tip back. It's up to you. And every day can be different. Good. 2 more breaths here. Good, release the extension. We're gonna slide the heels in, reach underneath the legs, hold on to the forearms or the elbows and round. Coming up to neutral. Find a great place for your legs again, whatever that is for you, because we're going to go into that side bending again. So we bring our hands behind our head. Good. You pick which side you want to go to first. We're going into a nice side bend. Good. Be gentle on your neck. So you don't want to be pushing your head forward. Coming up, other side. So the obliques are down near the waist, right? They're abdominal muscles. When we bring our arms in this position, we're getting into the lats, which attaches up to the upper arm bone. Good, coming up. Perfect. We'll release the hands. Let's go to our hands and knees. I like to place something under my knees for comfort. So the blanket I unfold goes underneath the knees. Have your knees wide, your toes touch, your hips are going to go back towards the heels. And then take your time coming down to the floor. If you can't make it the whole way, we stack the arms. Then let your forehead rest down onto your arms. Now let the arms relax. You don't need to press them down. Good. Three more breaths here. Use your hands to press you up. You're going to come to your hands and knees. Good. Find a little strength here. So flatten your hands down to the ground. You got a neutral spine. Okay. Plant the toes. Lift the knees just a tiny bit up off the ground. This brings strength into the shoulder joints all the way through the trunk of the body, your torso. You can feel it in your legs a little. Bring the knees down. Good, let's try from the forearms. Neutral neck, I'm looking towards my knees. Good, shoulders are away from the ears. Plant the toes, lift the knees just a little. Bring the knees down. Take a moment here. We're going to do it again. Ooh, good times. Plant the toes. Lift the knees just a little. Good. Bring the knees down. Walk the knees out wider and going back into child's pose again. Release your head. Take a moment here. Feel your breath moving in the back. Soften your arms. Let the shoulders relax. Very good. Coming up to the hands and knees. We're going to bring that right foot forward. And then I'm going to put my fists on the ground, or you can use a block under your hands. And we're going to lunge forward. Good. Now keep that right knee in close to your arm. Don't let it wander out. It's just the muscles that we're getting into. And we don't want to hang out, at least not right now, in our hip joint. So sometimes, yeah, you see people bring the leg out to the side. Yeah, not today. Let's not do that. That's just kind of hanging out in the hip joint. Perfect. Plant the back toes. Plant the hand. We're going to lift the back knee up. Good. Whatever you got for today. Good. Big step back with the right foot. Bring your knees to the ground. We're going to do the other side. Left foot comes forward. Fists on the floor and lunge. You can always hang on to stuff with your hands, whether it's blocks or bolsters, coffee tables, whatever you need to feel like you can be here for a little bit to release the hips. Relax the neck. Look down at the floor. You don't need to look forward. Your poor neck. You can stay where you are or plant the back toes. Lift the back knee. Change the hands more to the palms. You got it. Big step back. Bring the knees down. Good. Knees are wide, toes touch, hips go back. There's wonderful child's pose again. You know, I have a friend who doesn't like child's pose. It can happen. I know when I had some troubles with my knees, I didn't like it either. So find a place that's good for you when you're in child's pose. If you need to Adjust it with a bolster or block. We're going to be here for another 5 breaths. Bolster or block under the chest. Bolster or block under the hips. Coming up to the hands and knees. Perfect. Right knee is going to come in towards the chest. You're lifting it up off the ground. I'm just trying to get your hips a little bit warm. And then we're going to stretch the right leg out behind. Do that again. Bring the right knee into the chest. Ugh. There's breakfast. I can feel it. And then extending the leg out. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side. Left knee comes in towards the chest. The leg lifts up off the ground. And then extend the leg out behind. Bring it into the chest. And then extending it out. One more time. Extending it out. Good. Bring the knees down. The knee. We're going to crawl off our blanket. Let's move the blanket so that it's in front. I got a big old rectangle here. The shorter end of my rectangle is facing towards me. Some people like to do, if you like a firm roll, we're going to roll this up. Some people like to do 2 blankets or to fold it one more time and then roll it up. I'll leave that up to you. I'm just going to roll this up from short edge to short edge. This makes a thick roll. And then we're going to place that behind the hips. Coming back to the elbows first. Plant the feet. You got it. Yeah, lift the hips, upper back goes down. Good. This is in the arch of the low back. So if you find those pokey hip bones up front, and you draw a line from those pokey hip bones to the floor, that line just skims past the bottom edge of the roll. So you are a little lower in the low back because this is the area that gets sticky. Those pokey hip bones are called your ASIS. Let the hips sink over the roll. Good. Now taking care that when you sink, that you are moving that very low part of the spine, so the sticky spot. Press through the feet. Lift, get light on the roll. So don't lift off, but get light. Brings a little strength into the legs. Good. Now, taking care that the movement is coming from where the roll is. So sink the hips over the roll like you're trying to hug the roll with your hips. Good. Sometimes it feels a little achy. It's hard to kind of pinpoint sometimes in this area, like where is that ache coming from? Is it from my spine? Is it from my SI joint? Is it from my hip sockets, my acetabulums, or my femur goes into my pelvis? all that is in very close, it's very close to each other. So it's hard to pinpoint, where is the stickiness coming from? Well, the great thing is that the thick roll addresses all of these. So we just enjoy the stickiness and know that we're doing the right thing to help the stickiness. Press through the feet, lift, get light on the roll. You got it. And slowly sink and get heavy. Good. Let the roll be the guide for your little lower back bend. And we're going to take a few more breaths here. Walk the feet together, knees touching, and just go gently back and forth with the knees. Keep the movement small, about 1 inch or 2 from center. So when we look at the low back and we see all of its connective tissue in that area, so there's this huge amount of white connective tissue that attaches the muscles to the bones and provides a lot of stability. This is what we're rocking on right now, back and forth with the legs. A lot of it is tendon attaching the large latissimus dorsi muscle to your sacrum, your tailbone. Good. And a lot of times people like to use like a very unforgiving lacrosse ball to do this. I find that that's hard to relax on. I prefer the roll, or even one of those foam rollers. Like, it's hard to relax when it hurts that bad, right? So the rolling up a blanket, you're going to get better results because you can soften into this. I find the lacrosse ball is a great way to poke at the bear. There's other places in the body that it would work way better when there's bigger muscles. But in this area, we got bone, we got connective tissue, and very little muscle in this area. So it's bony. Bring your knees to center. Feet come hip width distance apart. Press into the feet. Lift. And get light on the roll. Hold there with some strength in the legs. It's like, you know, using that lacrosse ball on the sacrum is like getting tattooed on your bones. And I'll tell you, that hurts like heck. So yeah, when I got my fingers done, it's the most painful tattoo I've ever had. Sink the hips. When I got my fingers lasered, it was even worse. They're still there. Press through the feet, lift, get light on the roll, hold a little strength in the legs so that you're just barely lifting up off the roll. Good, and then sinking again. Very nice job. Press through the feet, lift, and you're going to lighter and lighter up off the roll until you can reach underneath and pull that roll out to the side. And then bring the hips down, keeping that neutral low back arch, so don't flatten your back to the ground. And we're going to press our butt down into the floor without flattening our back, and lift your feet 2 inches or less up off the ground. And how do you know that? If you point your toes, you can still notice the floor is there. Good, and we got A little arch to our back, enough to slip a flat hand into that area. Good, you can keep your left leg exactly where it is, but we're going to extend that right leg straight out and let it hover above the floor. Pull your toes towards you. Whatever you can do for today. If you can't do both legs hovering above the floor with the bent left knee, then you just put that left foot down. Good. Bend your right knee. Feet are hovering above the floor. Extend the left leg out. Keep that little low back arch. And then bringing that left foot in. Plant your feet. Good. A little bit of core work there. Press the feet into the floor. Lift the hips. Good. Watch the coordination. We want to always keep that little low back arch. And as our spine starts to extend, more strength goes into the legs. Slowly bringing the hips down. Keep that little low back arch. Press the hips into the floor. Lift the feet 2 inches or less up off the ground. Now we try to keep the shoulders relaxed, the neck relaxed. Extend the right leg out. Let it hover above the floor. Pull the toes towards you. Bring that right knee in. Feet are hovering above the floor. Extend the left leg out. Pull the toes towards you. And you lower that left leg to just barely be lifted up off the ground. Bend your left knee. Plant your foot. Press through the feet. Lift the hips. Lift your upper belly wherever you can go. Maybe you're lifting with the chest. You got it. And then slowly coming down. Good. We'll roll to one side, coming up to seated. Good. We're going to come to our hands and knees. We're going to lie down onto the floor with our belly down and propped up onto our elbows into Sphinx, watching the neck. Neutral neck, so my gaze is down towards the mat. Shoulders are away from the ears. And if you want to play with that, if your shoulders feeling a little creaky today, a little rusty, then let the shoulders move up towards the ears. And then press into the elbows and move them away. Good. Now, watching for any pinching sensation in the tops of the shoulders or around the shoulder joint. Usually it's part of the end movement. So when we're getting to the end of the pressing the elbows into the floor, or when we're getting to the end of where the shoulders are up by the ears. If there is a pinch, then you need to decrease your range of motion. So you got a little sticky spot in there, maybe an old injury. And you might be aggravating it. So you work where there is no pinch. Now your movement might be really small, and that's okay. I highly recommend doing this often. And you can feel all those muscles around the shoulder. You're like, oh man, they're getting tired. Yes. And it's might be something that you haven't felt in a while. Good. So the place where I want you to be is where you're pressing into the elbows and the shoulders are away from the ears. Good. You can definitely stay there in Sphinx or press into the hands and lift up into seal. Feel free to make any kind of seal sounds you like. It makes it a lot funner. I can't hear you. You can do it. Good. Relax the whole backside. So once again, the spine is going for a ride that the arms are creating. So you can fully relax into this. Good, come all the way down. We're going to stack the arms. Wow, there's breakfast. And let your forehead rest down onto your arms. Bend the knees. Windshield wiper the legs back and forth. Perfect. Steady your legs, extend them out. Let's come to the elbows again. Good. If you want to do a few of those movements, shoulders up by the ears, pressing into the elbows. Good. You might feel sensation in the shoulders later today from doing these little push-ups. Okay. Press into the elbows. Don't take it as bad news. Okay. It just means that you worked some muscles. Here we go. Maybe up into seal. Neutral neck. You don't need to look so far forward. Good. Very nice. Coming all the way down. Move your hands beside your rib cage. Elbows are close in to your body. Press into the hands. There's a lovely upward dog. If you like, you can lift your knees. We're going to go into child's pose. If you want something under your knees, there's that blanket. Knees go wide. Take your time. We've been doing back bends for a little while. So there's going to be some unraveling in the spine, lower spine, maybe in the upper back. Wherever you can go with your head, let your arms relax. You're doing great. Deep breaths into the back. Good. Coming up, I'm just going to place my blanket mid-mat, and I'm going to get my, what is that, my left hip. I need to get all my body parts labeled left and right. Good. We're on our side here. So my left hip and my left leg is out onto my mat. I believe that's my left arm. Yes, it is. But I got my right foot planted, and I want the foot planted behind the leg, so not in front. There you go. And we're going to try and bring a little bit of strength into this. So we're pressing into the hand, we're pressing into the right foot, and we're going to lift the hips. And I end up coming up onto my toes, and that's okay. You can place your right hand on your waist or extend it up to the ceiling. Good, it's a whole different type of strength. Good, 2 more breaths. And bring the hips down. It always gets me super hot, just like that. So my body temperature goes straight up. There's a lot of strength happening here. And it's coming around from in the trunk of your body. So all those stability muscles are engaged to hold you there. You're like, what are the stability muscles? Well, they're the same muscles you move with, but they just act differently. They hold rather than have a start of a movement and an end movement, right? It's just holding. Good. Let's do it again. We'll press the foot into the floor. Coming up, extend the arm up, or you can have it on your waist. Good. I always end up coming up onto my right toes. Yeah, it's just better that way for me. You can play with that. Good. And then bring the hips down. So when we come up, that's the movement of the muscle. So the muscle is engaging to come up, and then it holds. Whew. And it's that holding, right? That is the stability. It's the same muscles, right? So it's the glutes. We got the 6-pack, our obliques. You can feel that on the side, underneath, transverse abdominals. There's like a million muscles in the back, right? We don't feel them as much. There's not as many nerve endings. One more time on the left side. Press, lift. Good. Very nice. Coming down, we're going to switch to the other side. Very gracefully swinging our legs around. Good, so now my right leg is straight. That's my right hand, yep. Left foot is planted. Good. Press into the hand, lift up. Good, arm comes up, or the hand can be on the waist. Good, coming down. Lovely. Longer you hold, the more muscles you're going to recruit for that stability. Yes, I believe I talked about that last week, about how you recruit other muscles. Yes. We have different types of muscles, just that have different types of chemistry in them when it comes to oxygen going into the blood or out, carbon dioxide going out, right? You think of it, we have white meat muscles, we have dark meat muscle, and then we have something in between as pink. The longer we hold, the more the type of muscles we recruit, okay? It sounds horrible, I know, but really it's the best way to describe it. Lift the hips, arm goes up. When we first get there, it's the white meat. The longer we hold, it goes to pink, and then the darker meat. Sorry, we shouldn't call it meat, but how else am I going to describe it? I don't know. Bring the hips down. There are technical names. I don't remember them right now. We're going to do it one more time. You can feel that wonderful heat go through the body. Press up, stability. Yes, perfect. Doing it on a different plane rather than, straight. We're on our side. Feels different coming down. So it feels a lot different than doing plank. Sitting down, let's bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees wide. I won't torture you with core anymore. Good, whatever's good for you. If you need those blocks under the knees, you go ahead. Hold on to the feet. With your hands on your feet, remember the hands are just an accessory to your feet. They look pretty there. We don't pull with the hands. Inhale, exhale, bow forward. Don't pull. Good. Wherever you can go, make your neck neutral. So you're looking down at your beautiful feet. They're gorgeous. Good. Especially with those hand accessories on them, they're even nicer. Good. Coming up, sitting nice and tall, we're going to lift the legs up. Good, nice reset. And then bring the legs down. Good, take a breath in. Bow forward from the hip. Don't pull. It's hard. Neutral neck, looking down at the feet. You can close your eyes if you like. Coming up, bring the knees up. Nice little neutral, you got it. Good, and then bring the knees down again, bowing forward. The third one's always the best. Coming up. Okay, let's go to our hands and knees. We finally get to do downward dog. Aren't you excited? Plant the hands, plant the toes, lift the hips. There it is, wonderful downward dog. You can always bend your knees a little. You can widen your stance in downward dog. I always like to sometimes use just the edges of my mat for my big toe. Good. Play with it. Even if you get your feet off your mat, if you trust your floor. Good. Wider downward dog. Excellent. Bring the knees down. Forearms go to the ground. So we're checking that we don't have a very wide stance with the elbows. We want the elbows in line with the shoulders. The gaze is towards the area between my elbows. Plant the toes, lift the hips. Now relax your poor neck. You really want to look forward, but you don't have to. Let it go. Let your head go. Good. 2 more breaths here. So dolphin pose. You got it. Bring the knees down. Take a few breaths. Let your head go. Press into the toes. Lift the hips. Bring the knees down. Good. Child's pose. Child's pose again. Wherever you can have your arms where they're relaxed. Any angle will do. Good. Coming up. Let's fold our blanket up into a nice little square, little rectangle again, or you can sit on a block, or if you prefer to sit on the floor. You're nice and limber now, so sitting up nice and tall. We're going to bring our left arm behind the back and then the right. Hold on to your forearms, your elbows, your wrists, whatever is good for you. Take a breath in. Exhale, bow forward. We're going towards the floor. If you can get your head to the floor. If not, you can always place a block under there or a pillow. Coming up. Good, extend the arms out. Palms face forward, first finger and thumb touch. Backs of the hands to the knees. Take a breath in to grow tall. Exhale, chin goes towards the chest. Now soften your belly. That's hard. Soften the belly. Taking your deepest breath in and your longest breath out. And whenever you're ready, you can lie down. Get comfy. Extend your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Bringing some gentle movements into your hands and feet. And bend your knees. Roll to one side. And coming up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste. Have a wonderful week, or maybe I'll see you on Wednesday. If you're participating in the challenge, you get to go put a sticker on your chart now. It's very exciting. Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Jennifer.